Hey everyone, this is the quad planning meeting quad planning meeting for November 23rd. I can start through the list here. The first item is checking out commitments within the current milestone. Are there any blockers or any issues that might need to be reprioritized? I think I can speak from the perspective of some of the back-end Rails work. I don't think there's any concerns at this time. We've had one or two items already previously identified as blocked, such as the sharding issue, where we're waiting on loose foreign keys, but I don't think there's anything new. Anyone else have anything in particular to add there? Cool. And then prioritizing and planning future work. So reviewing the triage report. I'm not too familiar with the idea here. If anyone else,
so Michelle is mentioning here a flaky test, which is regarding a Conan instant package test, and she was asking if to take some time to work on this in the future milestones and then quarantine these tests. I was a bit confused with a comment on an issue which was about publish and install Conan packages with only name and version fix. So I assume that this MR already has the fix, but yeah, David already clarified. David, do you want to vocalize?
Yeah, so I'm working on a change on the registry, and I saw that the whole project level spec, it's all quarantined, so all the endpoints at the project level. I think if I recall correctly, it has to do something with uploads or test ordering. But I didn't look or take time to fix that. I just updated the spec for the changes. And so this way, when the spec is on quarantine, it will run through the specs that I want for that change. But I didn't look for the quarantine thing because it's like out of the scope of the issue and the MR.
So I think what Michelle means here is like to schedule fixing those issues with the project level endpoints, and perhaps try to schedule that for the upcoming milestones. I think that's what she means.
I think we should get them scheduled. Those Conan tests have been quarantined for many months now, I think, which granted we haven't had much changes to Conan recently. So there's been no specific reason to address them. But now that we are making more changes, it's probably worth investing a little time in.
For additional context, so the whole project spec is quarantined, the whole spec for all the endpoints. And in addition, the upload endpoints are quarantined, and those endpoints are shared between the project level and the instance level. So the whole project level is quarantined and skipped, and on the instance level, only the upload endpoints are skipped. That's the current situation.
I'll probably leave then a comment there in the link in the issue, and then just ping Michelle and try to schedule this for the upcoming milestones.
We already have issues for the quarantine, so we can
just adding something.
Yeah, we can reuse them and schedule them.
Cool. Anything else with regards to those? All right, the next item is reviewing UX debt issues. UX brings the most important ones to talk about. And so Katie says, I went through the backlog and added missing UX debt labels where needed. Even so, we only have 10 at the moment. Thanks, Nico, for resolving a bunch. I don't know if there's anything particular to review right now. Looking at that link. And yeah, there's 9 open UX debt issues. But maybe that's something that async anyone can take some time to look at and see if there's any action that can be taken. And Sophia, I think you have the next item.
Yeah, just to probably something to add in the quad planning structure, the QA failures to review, because some of them are actually bugs, or they probably need just some investigation. So just to sort of talk about that, and if we can schedule the efforts. We have a few of them already, but some of them are environment related. So when we have 500s in staging, for example, but some others are being addressed at the moment with some refactoring. So once we refactor and optimize a bit our tests, they are supposed to go away. But some others, like I posted here, one from Conan, I'm not really sure about the resolution of this failure, and probably would need some engineers to look at it.
They have a funny error message in Conan. Too many errors, I can't do anything.
It's very dramatic. So yeah, one point would be to start bringing those up. And another one would be probably, what could we do about that specific issue? Should we probably consider if it's to close, if it's to continue investigating, or if it's some other action?
I can revisit. It looks like I was involved in some investigation previously. I'll revisit that and see where it was last at and whether or not we can continue to move forward, or it was just like a matter of scheduling or something like that to find time to work on it. And I'll post an update in that specific issue. There's a fair amount of Conan issues that have come up all of a sudden. All right, does anyone have anything else to cover or chat about?
Yeah, from the last milestone, and I put that in the retrospective, we should really look into running QA specs against staging, because GDK locally is not stable for QA specs. You can have pipelines that are not created, pipelines that are not executed by the runner in time. So the spec will just wait for the job to be executed, and well, after a timeout, it will just fail. And it makes the whole development around QA specs more difficult, because the feedback loop is run the QA spec, watch it fail, run it JDK stop, JDK start again, wait for the server to be up, start the QA spec, watch it fail, start over again. It's too random to be usable, so it would be better if we can have a stable environment. Staging could be that environment. And we just like take the modifications on the QA spec and run them against that environment.
I took a note of that in the retrospective, and basically yesterday I left a note on the weekly meeting about giving access to the QA vault, because that's where we have the environment variables. Last week I was a bit not understanding how what's the procedure in quality when someone wants to enable an engineer to do that. Apparently there isn't one. So I think what we're going to do is that we're going to create access requests for the interested team members, and then you would be able to access staging and then run this, and it would be much easier. Also, you have the running against staging. Imagine that you are actually doing some code changes and you want to run them, and you don't want to run them in the JDK. You still would have, you could still use GitLab QA to do it, but you need still some access tokens to pull the image that is generated and built with your MR, right? Like that would still be needed. So these are two ways, like you could run them against staging, or you could run them against a Docker image that your MR packed and you run the tests against. I'll ping the team on the access request docs.
Yeah, I think at least all the backend engineers can have the access to that. Front-end engineers could be a nice bonus too, because we are going to work with those QA specs and adding more examples and such. And we can even be, that's what happened to me last week. I was in QA spec incidents, and like we need to work on them quite quickly to quickly resolve an issue. So if we have a much tighter feedback loop, it would be way better.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. All right, anything else from anyone? All right, well, thanks for joining, and hope everyone has a good rest of their day.